Alright, YouTube. So I'm just going to do a quick video about the multi-function switch or whatever they call it. It's the turn signals, headlights, all this stuff on the Isuzu. My horn quit working, amongst other things. I've had this switch apart a couple times. That's why I'm going to kind of point at some things and show you guys some things. So coming out of the top here is this. If that gets corroded, it's not going to send electricity up to the bottom of the steering wheel here, where my finger's pointing. There's like a little ring where that rides on, and so then your horn won't work. Well, not only was mine corroded, but once I started uncorroding it with a little WD-40 and I was trying to kind of do the spring and stuff, the spring ended up breaking. So what I did is I went and got a spring out of a click pen, you know, a big pen or a big pen that click, 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 that kind. But I took the spring out of that and I cut the end off and I kind of flared, you know, made it a little wider to where I could get it to start spinning on there. And once I spun it on a couple times, I clipped it, got rid of that wide point to where it was able to go down in, spun on as much as I possibly could on, and then clipped it again. So now my button's working again. But while I've got this off, I wanted to show you guys a few other things about this. Okay, if your hazards quit working, you can fix them from the outside. On this side, right here, you pull these green, oops, okay, let me try to hold this with my knees. But you pull with this green here, and this whole plastic piece slides up and you can get to the contacts and stuff on this. Well, be careful though, because it is there's a little brass thing that clips over this, and it's got a spring and a ball behind it, a little detent ball. So be careful of that, but you can fix it without taking anything else apart. Now, from the bottom, let it hang here so that you guys can see. Okay, from the bottom, right here, if you take this apart, there's a spring and the lever for the high beams on and off for the headlights. And that spring kind of goes up to a little contact and stuff that if you take all of this out, there's two screws here, and then a screw down here with a little metal plate along the edge, and a screw here. This all comes out. Now be careful doing that, because when you do, there is a couple of springs and detent balls sitting in there and stuff that are gonna get out of place. There's also a little contact thing that tips back and forth for the turn signals, and that was also gummed up and corroded on mine, and that's why I ended up having to tear all this apart, was to get to that little piece that tips and clean it up for my left turn signals to work. But once I tore it apart, then my hazard thing fell apart, and then I figured out the problem with my horn being in this. So it's been a little bit of a pain, but to get this off, you pop this and this unfolds, and then there's a clip here that you push in and slide the little plugs out of. But I'm going to go ahead and get this, and it does reach up and around like this, even with the wire on it. So I'm going to get that brought back up and around and start getting it screwed back together. There's two screws on this side, one on this side, and then you've got to do the bottom plastic and then the top plastic. It's kind of a chore. So I'm going to start getting it all put back together now.